to another supporters show. I'm going to try not to cough in everybody's ear today. My voice is mostly back. I did apparently go through puberty yesterday, so the crazy high-pitched voices are gone, and now we're back to this kind of usual. But you know, we're carrying on. This is actually most ideal. Stream rate current. I think YouTube quietly changed their settings on the background, because it's telling me the current stream's bit rate is lower than recommended. I've been streaming at this bit rate for a long time, and we've just started getting those types of notices in the past. So I think they rolled something out. So I don't know. I think after the show's over, you guys remind me in the after show to up my settings in OBS. We're just going to bump it up a little bit. Apologies for YouTube. Their system is seeming to not work. And they actually did change their thing. My good connection button is no longer green. It is now blue. That is new. That's exciting. Yeah. Stream settings, analytics. The analytics platform is completely missing. Viewer activity, nothing going on. Weird. Maybe they updated it because I have a shopping tab in there now too. Could be. I can tag products. I have to look into all the tagging product stuff. That sounds fun. All right. Well, we will carry on. My apologies, guys. It does look like we're streaming well everywhere else. So if YouTube's not working for you, check out the Odyssey, the Rumble, or the Twitch, or the Lost Stepchild. That is DLive. All right. Should we just jump right on in, I guess? Or should we just blow the breeze for a little bit? I don't know. Let's go ahead and jump in because that's what we're trying to do these days. All right. Just got to double check my article view, make sure we're in good shape. I did forget to do that one thing. Just make sure my article's in good shape. This new... Hold on. The new Firefox wrapper with, like, I don't know what they did differently in the last couple versions, but it frequently does not allow me to resize the window. I can go up and down, but I can't resize the window left and right, which is kind of what I need to do right now. There was a setting for that somewhere. I can't remember where it is. Let's see. We'll figure it out later. We're just going to run with it how it is. It's acceptable. It's not perfect.
It works for me.
For whatever reason on my there you go. Now I got it working again. Yeah. For whatever reason, a good portion of the time, Firefox is causing a little bit of occasional messed up stuff in the overlay. It just how it changed its framing to throw everything in the newer unified bars and crap. It's just like, dude, give me a menu bar lit. Because the new one, it fouls up here, it fouls up on my Endeavor system, it fouls up on my older systems, fouls up on my newer systems. And here we are talking about Mozilla. Are they shifting directions? Is it going good? Apparently bad. Fix Firefox.
Reminds me of one of the latest Louis Rossmann rants about menus at restaurants, digital menus where 2/3 of the screen is just ads, and you can't. And he is like, just give me the darn menu.
Yeah. Well, the funniest I saw was I'm driving by a mall to see if it's open. They don't post their hours. They posted a QR code. No, I'm not scanning a QR code to check your hours. Put it on the door. Very fascinating. But Mozilla is downsizing. They're laying off 60 more people. Of course, a couple years ago, they laid off 250. Now they're laying off 60 more people. Now, this does not seem bad on the surface because every tech company is laying off a bunch of people. TechCrunch, I think, has the most authoritative article on this as an internal memo about it leaked out. And there's some interesting things in here that some of them are really good and some are really not good. And so we kind of wanted to talk about this from different perspectives. Of course, we've been critical of Mozilla on the channel for a while because they've done some really boneheaded things. But at the same time, I would never say, let's boycott this crap, because our alternative is Chromium-based browsers, and we have to keep using Firefox. Firefox is still my primary browser. It has the best open source features. It has the best ability to harden it. It does everything we need it to do. So minor frustrations notwithstanding, I personally like Firefox. And I looked at this news and said, okay, there's actually some really good things they're doing. There's some, maybe some things I don't like as much they're doing. So I figured we'd go ahead and talk about it. Does anybody want to jump in before I rattle my pubescent voice for a while?
Well, I hope if they're going to focus on the browser that they don't focus on overloading it with a bunch of, permanent stuff that goes in it. I'd rather see like Pocket or something like that be added to Firefox as an extension rather than something that's forced on you.
So, Dan, how do you feel about AI crammed in your browser?
I'll run from that.
Yeah. It's seeing this. It's like it's of no surprise to me because I've kind of seen it in the corporate world. I'm just like, this is just they're just shifting things around for the bottom line.
It would be. I would recommend that they make it optional. They have a switch for it, so you can turn it on or off.
Yeah, I mean, there is in the sense that you can go into the about config and completely nuke Pocket from the whole thing. I think there might even be. I think you can accomplish effectively the same thing in the basic system settings. And the problem is it's turned on by default, and you have to go in there and turn it off. But that's not horrible. But it'd be better if it were opt-in. But I think if it were opt-in, nobody would know it would be there to look for it. But so anything to add before we jump in?
Firefox, when they put out a new release, and that's something else that I have a beef with, is they update Firefox like every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
because my Firefox is on an independent schedule. It's not linked into a repository with Debian or anything. It takes care of itself, and it tells you have a new download. Dismiss or take it. And it's too much every 2 weeks to actually close out your browser and restart it and everything.
Yeah, back in the old days, if you remember Firefox, I ran Firefox. I think I went through half of grad school and most way through being a college professor before there was a single Firefox update.
It makes you think that they broke it and they have to fix it right away.
Yeah,
but this is why they have the LTS release version, which
the ESR release.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the article itself. Like I said, I have the Ars Technica one up as well. I think the that one kind of organizes things a little bit better, but I think the TechCrunch is the most authoritative because this actually contains the internal memo that was leaked out to them. So a new interim CEO is there. The CEO left, an interim CEO is here, and they are going to be making some major changes to their strategies. The first thing they're doing, which I generally agree with, now it's a hard position for them because they have a VPN. They actually have a Mastodon server. Remember, like we were highly critical on this when they wanted to fix the problems with social media with a Mastodon instance. Yeah, they're going to be getting rid of that, or at least deprioritizing that. Remember when they had the Firefox-averse, that their metaverse world. They're now deprioritizing that. They're getting rid of hubs. I've never heard of hubs before.
Me neither.
And
Google does the same thing. They got rid of Hangouts.
They do, but there's a little bit of difference. So one of the problems that Mozilla has is they have to try and figure out how to be a good, profitable company while maintaining the best alternative to Chrome at 3% market share. And so it raises a lot of serious problems and questions for them because the issue that we have is that they're getting they have to walk this fine balance between what do you do for an income when you have the world's least used browser. There might be more Pale Moon users than Firefox. I don't know. But when you have the one of the smallest major browser market share, and you're trying to be profitable as a company, it makes logical sense to diversify. The problem you have with diversifying is you are splitting things too far out. Now, if you have good teams, and that's where Google does it right. Google has enough good teams that they can dedicate a full, 1,000 people to this project, 1,000 people to that project. Mozilla doesn't have that. In fact, Mozilla is 80% dependent on Google as it is. 80% of their income comes from Google as the default search engine. And if they lose that, Mozilla is just like, I've seen what happens. My dad's company, his biggest client was GE, and GE closed down the factory where his shop was, and that was 75% of his business, and there was nowhere to go but close the doors. And that's problematic, right? And so
perhaps Firefox would do better if they invested in some marketing.
They might. Actually, they might. But what I'm seeing they're doing is they're laying off a bunch of the teams, making a lot of these accessory programs smaller because they're not bringing in. And maybe, Dan, to your point, maybe that's what they need to do. Because they had this Mozilla Social. Very few, if anybody knows about that. Their 3D worldview, nobody, not a lot of people knew about that. I have no idea what Hubs is, but it's shutting down apparently. Then they had another privacy footprint scrubber that's not the one we talked about on the news last week. They had a separate one, and nobody's heard of that one, and they're closing that one down. So maybe it's not that they're trying to do too many things. Maybe, Dan, to your point, they're just not marketing enough, and they need to tell people what they got.
Yeah.
But that being said, I really support them getting rid of a bunch of other stuff and, focusing as hard as I can on developing the browser and making the browser better. So, and I like that approach. So I don't know where to sit on this one. I don't know if you guys have any other ideas on that.
No.
Well, they have a pretty good browser to begin with a bunch of little tiny quirks that they've thrown in to try and appease certain crowds, But when you get your new Firefox update, they usually send along a change list page with it when you open it up after it's been downloaded and started again, So they let you know what they did to it most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my big gripes is they keep on adding things in that I want no part of. I mean, they're not the worst, like Vivaldi. I do not need my web browser to also be a matrix client and to also be an email client and to also dude, stop. I want a web browser. They keep on cramming crap in there. Oh, Pocket, save your I don't want to save my articles.
Yeah, there becomes a time when you cram so much garbage in a web browser. When you first download it to try it out, you're overwhelmed with all kinds of buttons and switches and stuff to make it customized.
Yeah, and that is an issue. So here's their internal memo. The first is scaling back investment, Mozilla Social. They made a bet in 2023 to build a safer, better social media experience based on Mastodon and the Fediverse, and is based on a belief that Mozilla needed to quickly reach large scale in order to effectively shape the future of social media. So, of course, it was a noble idea. Of course, it didn't work because people have different views. And you can't build the best, perfect social media by excluding people's views. And that's seems to be what they were looking at. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to lay off some people over there. They had the PXI, Protection, Experiment, and Identity. They're scaling this back with some security and privacy spaces. They had an online footprint scrubber. They're reducing their investments in their VPN and Relay. Now, this online footprint scrubber is not the same thing as the, what's the name of the application? I think they corrected the article down here with it. Last week, they launched the Mozilla Monitor we talked about in the news. This is not that. This is a separate program that apparently did something similar. And yeah, it's like people don't know the services are here, and that might be part of the problem. Hubs, they experienced a shift in the market for 3D market. Oh, the Hubs was the 3D market space. Okay, that's why I couldn't remember it, because I just couldn't remember the name of it. So jumping on with the Fediverse, hey, let's go and jump into this. Of course, nobody's even using the metaverse, let alone any of the other alternatives to it, except now we got the whole world doing this in live public with the, Activision Pro crap, or Pro, whatever it is. Vision Pro, Apple crap. Apple glasses, shrimp scampi, shrimp cocktails. Never mind. So they're getting rid of Hubs. They're right sizing the people team. Okay, that is core. That person, this new CEO needs fired just for using that type of corporate lingo. I just gotta say, we're right sizing the people team. What? No, thank you. All right. Somebody please alert Joshua Fluke to this article. Given the reduction in staffing and the lower headcount budget moving forward, the MozProd, is that a legitimate term? I don't know. Some roles have to be considered consolidated in people in order in other support services orgs. My Lord, can you just like? I'm not in my corporate lingo mode. I'm not on my sharpest game today. Of course, the last sentence tells us to have a sharpening of focus, which I'm apparently lacking. So, but basically, we're gonna trim down all these things, reduce the size. We're gonna right size the people team and consolidate the peoples and the MozProd. And what they're going to do is 2023 generative AI began rapidly shifting the industry landscape. Mozilla seized the opportunity to bring forward a trustworthy AI into Firefox, largely driven by the fake spot acquisition, product integration work that followed. Additionally, finding great content is still a critical use case for the internet. Therefore, as part of the changes today, we'll be bringing together Pocket content and AI ML teams supporting content with the Firefox organization. More details on the specific organization will follow shortly. Within MozProd, there's no changes with MDN, ads, or fake spot. So basically, they're just consolidating teams. They're getting rid of the products that are not doing well, focusing more on the browser and throwing some AI in there with Pocket and content, unifying those individual teams. In my overall opinion, I think this is fine. I'm not like, it's going to end, because every tech company is laying off people. That's very sad. It'd be good if we could maintain some of these jobs. But at the same time, these are products nobody's using that, maybe a marketing strategy might be a better bet. Because right now, especially they're in a good position right now because a lot of people are deeply concerned about privacy. More even normies are trying to look for Google alternatives. And if Firefox comes out with a good ad program to say, hey, we have the only browser that's not tied to a big company that utilizes data collection, they could bring in a lot of user market adoption just by talking about that. But as long as they allow Chrome to sit in there and keep that position, and they keep on doing weird things and not telling anybody about what they have to offer on the core level, I think that their company is going to be hurt. So I don't mind this. It's not the end of the company. I do like the idea that, as much as I'm not a huge fan of ads and marketing, maybe some ads and marketing is good. And I've seen a lot more nonprofits, things like that. Not that Mozilla has a nonprofit end, they have a corporate end, but I've seen more nonprofits advertising on some things because they realize they're not seeking to make money, but they are seeking to raise awareness and get donations and user cap and things like that. And Mozilla could benefit from that, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Does Mozilla make a Firefox browser for phones and tablets?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, they have a couple. So they have the regular Firefox, which has all of the core apps. So if you need to use cameras and microphones, phone calls, and things like that, you have that. But you also have Firefox Focus, and on F-Droid, it's called Firefox Clar. These are actually don't even have the libraries that allow access to things like GPS, camera, and microphone. So they are way better privacy options to use Firefox Clar or Firefox Focus on support devices, with the trade-off that you won't be able to do like calls or use a GPS or things like that. But just have both browsers on there. Use one of them for your more privacy end things and one of them for not. But yeah, they do have it. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
Well, they could actually use some of this. They could get a hold of some YouTubers that do technology like we do and stuff like that, and show them $20 to do a spot in their show for Firefox. Something to help get advertising going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sponsorships are usually quite a bit more expensive than that, but yeah.
The problem is you're not buying something; you're just giving them a plug.
Yeah. I agree. I think people should have Firefox as part of their browser strategy. Of course, I support using multiple different browsers.
Well, if you support using multiple browsers, then you probably should do what I'm doing, or you probably already are. You use LibreWolf as your main browser, Firefox for personal things and sensitive things, and because it has DRM, you use it for streaming services and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you use, I have to take an offshoot and use Vivaldi to run Jitsi and some other streaming services because they stumble on Firefox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think Firefox itself is pretty good for most of your streaming services on computer. Not all, but most. But I mean, I don't use any of the streaming services, so I really don't know.
It works really good if you have a Firefox browser open like that. That's what I have on my TV in my living room. I have a separate computer with a Firefox browser in it. I have all the popular streaming services. I got my Amazon Video on there. I have Netflix on there. I have Paramount Plus on there. And then I have a bunch of the free ones on there as well. And some of the free ones do require DRM as well. And they do put ads in your, like Tubi and Pluto and stuff like that. So I have a full alternative media thing for the TV set.
Don't forget Plex too. Also has a free movie component as well.
Yeah. And the same with my laptop. My laptop really is my TV because I use it more than the TV because it uses less power and I don't have to put on my glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a TV in the van.
It'll take up way too much space.
It would. Although it'd be kind of neat to mount a big old 55-inch TV right back here in this wall back here, man.
Yeah, hanging on the ceiling with a hinge, and you just.
That's right. Pull the TV down, that might interfere with my ability.
I saw a review of an RV a month back or so, where you pushed a button and the TV folded down from the ceiling.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. One of the most impressive builds I saw was in I believe it was like a rebuilt commercial bus, and it was an electrical engineer. They had I think he had a 48-volt battery system. They had 5 kids, all homeschooled. So they had 2 separate media rooms, like one for the kids and one for the adults. They had all their homeschooling classrooms in there. They had a whole bunk bed set up for the kids. But then, of course, they had all the front seats and seat belts for all the kids just behind. And then they had a big old TV that goes just behind the driver's seat. It was a really impressive van build. It was kind of neat. Well, it was a
the
bus
most
build,
impressive one that I saw was a retired Microsoft employee. He and his wife, they bought semi-rig, and the entire trailer they turned into a rather large home with different rooms and so on.
Yeah. I have a friend that does a little bit of off-grid living, has a pickup truck, and built a tiny home in a trailer. It's kind of neat. It just hauls the thing out. Comes up to our writing conferences sometimes. All right. Anything else to say on the article here before we jump over to comments? Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I've worked with a lot of companies in the past doing work for them and stuff like that. And I've noticed when things are really good, people in the company bring in family members, friends, and, anybody else they know that's looking for a job. And the company becomes kind of bloated because of this. Mm-hmm. You have these people that are in the system, and whether they're answering the phone or sweeping the floor or whatever, they're collecting a paycheck from a job. When times get kind of really tough, companies really got to pick through these people and shuffle them out if they don't have a valued position. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're seeing with all our tech companies, very large institutions that got a lot of people in them. They want to figure out who's making the money and who is just cleaning up after the money.
Yeah.
But just my thoughts on layoffs.
Yeah, that's it happens, and it's happening a lot more right now, and it's just people are getting crammed. I have to pay my car insurance. My car insurance went up $400.
Wow.
No claims, nothing. It's just, out. Talk about sticker price. Everything is getting crushed right now. And so, and then of course now we got somebody over and was it in California proposing a $50 minimum wage? Are you insane?
Yeah, that's kind of really that's kind of really out there. That's gonna kill all the small businesses off.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to pass, obviously. But though California did pass $20 minimum wage for fast food workers, and of course what ended up happening is all the fast food workers got laid off. They're like, yeah, it's cheaper now to bring in robots to do most of their work.
Well, I drive around the town here and stuff like that. Like Burger King completely went out of business and closed their doors.
Yep.
The McDonald's used to always be packed. I mean, anywhere from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, you had to sit and wait and get your Big Mackey meal.
Yeah, I mean,
Wendy's is kind of so-so because they cost a little more. But now you can drive by them and there's maybe 1 or 2 cars in the drive-through, and that's it at any given time of the day. And about 2 years ago, I went and bought a Wendy's hamburger. I got a single with small fries and a small drink. It almost cost me $10.
Yeah.
It's the last time I ate at fast food.
I paid $10 at a Burger King not too long ago. It's just like, what? Why? I
would have rather had the Burger King if they're still in business.
Yeah, I do kind of prefer the Burger King burgers. There's something about their meat that tastes a lot better than the soy crap that McDonald's gives. All right, let's check in on our comments if there's nothing else about Mozilla here. Got Razzy's Realm, greetings. Yes, tonight we are doing a Christian video. We are wrapping up Micah chapter 6, destroyed for the sin. A little bit of crossover into Haggai, which I was actually doing some of my Haggai notes last night, so very exciting. Night of Light, greetings. Which road Mozilla going down? The broad road to destruction or narrow road to life? We're not sure. I'm not sure they're sure either. I think they're going to throw in a blindfold, spin around, and walk, because that seems what they always do. Make that image. If not, then it's under Creative Commons 0. It's an image that is right now is being memed all the get out. And so, yeah, I went ahead and used it because it's being used for memes all over the place. So... How do y'all know to not make the image? Yeah, it's since it's a popular memeing one, I figured I'd go ahead and do it. Dabbled with it in the past, but no current code. Let's see. Honestly, rather build, repair, salvage computers. Yep. Mozilla's been going down a dead-end dirt road for a decade now. Yes. Time to bring them back down to the pavement, Google just keeps them alive. The government doesn't crack down on being a monopoly. Yeah, that's exactly what. Well, not only that, but Apple is still around because Microsoft propped Apple up way back in the day. They just didn't count on Apple releasing the iPhone, which really turned their company back around. But yeah, up until for about 10 years before the iPhone, Microsoft kept Apple alive specifically so that monopoly charges wouldn't be kept out. Mozilla and GNOME have similar philosophies of removing buggy features instead of fixing bugs. Mozilla removed PWAs from Firefox using Brave, and I like the PWA feature on the browser. Where are you at, LOL? I'm not going to broadcast directly where I'm at these days because apparently we have a crazy internet stalker. So, but I will say this. I'm in a very 2FA friendly state with a CCW, so if anybody gets any ideas. I always find it hilarious when people, like international people, are trying to denigrate guys like DistroTube who like their firearms and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, here's all this firearm gun stuff. Like, shut up. You live in a country, you're not even allowed to have them. It's our actual constitutional right. Shut up. Stop. Like, I don't interfere with politics in your country. Leave politics in our country alone,
Yeah, my county is one of the most heavily armed counties in Michigan.
Legally or not legally? I mean, it is Michigan after all.
Yeah.
I think Michigan is one of the states my CCW is not actually valid. I'd have to check. I only check up on the states I'm about to drive through. So
I believe that due to your second thingy, the U.S. is the hardest country to invade.
Well, yeah. I mean, like if China invades our country, they're going to take California, and most of us are going to stand on the border of like Nevada and Arizona and wait for that to happen because we're like, good, take it. Crap. And then they won't get any further. They'll get pushed down, and then we're just going to push them back, and we'll take California and annex them into Arizona and Nevada, and then hey, we'll be good. But yeah, you don't want to try and invade the United States.
That could actually be a good script for a movie.
Yeah, there you go. That would be funny.
Put it this way: the U.S. government won't have to pass out arms to everybody.
Yeah. What browser can you use that does not steal your data? I think overall the best are like LibreWolf or Molvad browser, both based on Firefox, specifically hardened against data collection. I think Molvad has more anti-fingerprinting features enabled by default. LibreWolf has them all available, but they're not all enabled by default. Molvad browser does some things to do anti-fingerprinting, kind of like the Onion router does, being that they're actually co-produced between Molvad and is it Tor? I think is the group, same group that does the Tor browser. Which part of the Tor browser is effective because of the fact that they shift all the settings to make everybody using it on the internet look more anonymous, like look like the same person. And so Molvad and LibreWolf are your best overall out of the box. And then after that, Firefox is pretty good, although their data collection stuff, is it opt out at this point, which is ridiculous, but I think it is. Brave is pretty decent with that as well. What are some of the other ones out there that are really good for privacy, guys?
LibreWolf with Privacy Badger.
Yeah, Dan's full-fledged LibreWolf fanboy, so that's all good. All right.
Yeah, I'm using the plain Firefox there with a lot of extensions.
Yep.
I use that too.
Had to install Firefox. Trying to use Chromium on Nobra Official 39 was a nightmare, but Live ISO, once machine shuts down, I'll lose it. Uh-oh. Reinstalled 6 times. After the 10th update, it fails to boot. It's kind of why I stick some of the more main distributions for regular production. Nightlight, seriously thinking about ditching Firefox for NetSurf for my custom Linux because Firefox is massively big. That is a downside, is it's becoming massively bloated because they keep on cramming crap in there that has no good purpose. Like, I would really like it if Mozilla released a Firefox Lite that's like, okay, we're stripping out everything. This is a web browser. I'd be so on board with that.
The Firefox Linux distribution. All you get is Firefox and some Linux kernels to start it up.
Yeah, I mean, just a stripped down Firefox without, I don't want picture in picture. I don't want Pocket. I don't want experiments. I don't, all this stuff. Of course, a lot of the things in there now are things like the anti-fingerprinting and stuff like that does make it more privacy focused. So we have to keep an eye on that as well.
Well, something, the picture in picture, I know another person that does the same thing with their TV as I do for mine. Their TV didn't come with picture in picture, but Firefox gives it to them for free.
Yeah, I hate picture in picture. Personally.
Well, this is somebody that's watching 4 football games at the same time.
See, if I were into sports, I'd probably totally dig picture in picture. I totally probably would. Right.
There are some people that do like it, but it should be something that you get as an extension.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really mind how they do it because it's
or a switch.
As long as there's an easy setting for me to turn it off, and there is. So,
but again, it makes Firefox heavy. What we're talking about, you start putting all these little pockets and picture in picture in it. Adds more to the code. It makes it a longer download.
Yeah. It's Quark doing driving me crazy. Likes Brave and Edge. All right. I want to see Midori versus Epiphany video. That's a good Epiphany. I should do that. LQIB.
Now, GNOME has a web browser. What's that based on? GNOME Web.
I believe it's Chromium based, isn't it? Salvo, you probably.
I don't know. I tested it a while ago. It didn't perform very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what it's based on. I live in a camper by a creek. I like it. Hey, man. Right now, I'm in the van down by the lake, and I like it. What if Gnome and Mozilla were the same corporation? Oh, boy. That'd be crazy. Perhaps Mozilla should shift their entire focus to SeaMonkey. There you go. You have a stalker? Deets, please. I have some stalkers myself. Yeah, I do. Apparently, we've picked up a stalker. That's exciting. It's fun. It keeps your life exciting, though.
I'm really solid on the idea that Firefox and Mozilla actually need to do some advertising, even if they got to put it on websites as a ad off to the side or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd run an ad for Mozilla.
You got to spend money to make money.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing what Louis Rossman's doing and talk about some of the, do a little bit deeper ads on some of my favorite software. That'd be fun. I didn't just say YouTube swear word, did I? I don't know. Let's see. Good with property. I'm not sure. What'd you say? I don't see the comment, so maybe it was taken down by the YouTube Gestapo. Gnome is Epiphany is what Driving Me Crazy says. That does sound right. I don't have no idea how many people are watching on YouTube.
Yes, Epiphany is
my
Gnome
YouTube
Web.
stuff is done. Anybody have a readout? How many we have on YouTube right now?
I'm showing 49.
Yeah,
49.
same.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Yep. We got 20 watching over on Odyssey. We got Instigate. Apparently, Instigator's been picked up by the feds because all of his comments are removed. So, are you okay, Instigator? Blink twice for yes, once for no. All right. Zill's in trouble.
There is a comment on YouTube that Night of Light wonders if he could implement ad blocking at the DNS levels, and I think Pi-hole is an excellent choice for doing that.
Yeah, I think I need to refresh my Pi-hole video, and also want to talk about setting up my own DNS over HTTPS on my local server. Because the technology is good as long as you have control over where that is. And I believe that you can get all that done on Pi-hole. So I'll have to bust out my Raspberry Pi Nano over here and see what I can do with it. Let's see. Almost 6 foot. Let's see. Also, Firefox market share on desktop is not that bad, though it's pretty bad on mobile. Yeah, I think that does. So we'd have to see what like I said, I think on desktop it's like 15-20%, isn't it? I'm paying for people who don't know how to drive with my increased car insurance. Or I'm paying for people who are looting and destroying things inside of every city in this country because nobody wants to actually arrest anybody. I see those guys. One of those guys that was arrested for beating up the police officers last week was just arrested again for shoplifting and beating up a security guard today.
The problem is not that nobody wants to arrest them, but they are released afterwards.
Correct. I stand completely corrected. They are being arrested. The police are doing a great job. It's the DAs who all need to be sent to jail.
Yeah.
It's like, you commit a crime, go to jail for a while. That's what it's there for, I was actually talking to a guy who was a prison guard in a federal prison in California. He said that the federal prisons are nearly empty. They're at 30% capacity at best. The county jails are overwhelmed because of this catch and release. They catch guys, they have to hold them until their initial hearing, and then they send them out, and then they just keep on getting rearrested. He said if they just sent people to prison, you would completely stop the crime issues, the overcrowding in the jails, and the prisons would not be as populated. So we got 25 watching over on Rumble. Hello, Jewel. Greetings. Chilling noise. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Noises make me feel I'm on a Dyson sphere. Yeah, that's a very nice, creepy noise I found. Rumble working fine. Just YouTube YouTube was being a little weird. I thought people got me officially canceled, but it didn't happen. Sorry. They had their hopes up for a bit. Makes sense. A lot of companies are doing these days. Maybe they should just grab the Netscape IP and rebrand to Netscape. There you go. Yeah, I remember Netscape. Man, Netscape was so awesome. Dude, you'd turn on your internet and then you'd hit the download and you'd go to sleep. And in the morning, after like 8 hours, you would have a 15 megabyte file to install on your computer.
Yeah, I actually did that once. I had access to an FTP server, so I wanted to download an MP3 album. It was 75 megabytes.
Yeah.
So I used a download manager in order to do this, and I went to my parents' house on the other side of town to have some dinner. And when I got home 8 hours later, it was still not finished.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of the games I downloaded this week.
Did anybody rip MP3s the first year that CD drives were a thing?
Oh yeah, you had to put in your new
it was like
iPad you got or iPod.
Oh no, this is far before that. This is like late 90s. My cousin got a CD-ROM, like first time I've ever seen a CD-ROM. It takes like 8 hours to rip a CD because you'd rip it and then something would go wrong and it would crash the whole program. You had to restart everything again. And then you had to run a DOS-based ID tagger program, which I still have a copy of, actually. I have a copy of that. I have a copy of my original Winamp, a couple of my favorite skins. So, yeah, I mean, those were the days, man, where it's like, and then it's like, whoa, it's like a 4X CD drive. Holy, I can rip a whole CD in 15 minutes. Like, now we do a whole CD in like 3.
Yeah.
Technology's great.
Yeah, I remember my first CD burner that I got. I bought it on a 2-year down payment.
Yeah, my first real computer was like, I think it cost me like $1,800. I think good old Windows 95. That thing, 1.6 gigabyte hard drive. He told me I'd never fill that thing up.
I remember hearing someone in the industry talking in the night because the CD-ROM and the CD burner was invented in 1981 or along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And in Norway, the national broadcaster NRK was the first one who had a CD burner, and they paid some $200,000 for it.
Yeah. I had one of the first generation DVD players for a computer. You had to have the DVD player, and then you had to have a separate PCI decoder card. And I was like, whoa, I don't even have to have a DVD player anymore. I can watch DVDs on a computer. This is so cool. Yeah, it was expensive though. I don't think I paid a few $100 for that thing.
Yeah,
they were expensive back then.
And in one of the CD-ROMs that I had, it was a 12-speed CD-ROM, and it had a remote controls with the start, rewind, and so on. So you could hook up your the sound card to your stereo, and then you could use your computers to play CDs on.
Yeah. Go, Winamp really whips the llamas behind.
Yeah.
All right,
I still have my favorite audio player is Audacious, and I use the old Winamp skin, the Star Trek L-Cars computer display. Is the skin I use.
Yeah. We actually have 4 watching over on Twitch right now. Hello, Shy Low-Key, and everybody else over there on Twitch. That's a lot. We don't usually get that many over there. Watch yourself driving through Illinois. They're really bad with CC. Yeah, actually, I was going to pass through. When I pass through Illinois, I was going to pass through this year. Let's just like really fast, like one day. But I found this little camp spot down there, a place called Turkey Bayou, down the southern tip of the state. I'm like, that says, oh, you can camp out there for a couple days. I go over. It's like, this is beautiful. I ended up staying a whole week. It was great. Beautiful little bayou down there. Oh, wonderful spot. Wonderful spot. Yeah, usually I just try and drive through Illinois because especially as of January this year, they're doing the same thing New York City did with their criminals because, it worked so well over there. Oh, it's bad to actually give people bail. Just catch them, take their name, and let them go. No.
Uncle Bon had comments on Rumble that he always loves the backgrounds in this show. And I think the coolest background is the one Tom has. It's a really good looking, almost like real.
Whose? Mine?
Yeah.
Oh no, mine's completely real. Yeah. Proof of life. I had a Stanley years ago. Yeah, but I did make the change to put the focusing lights down on the ground instead of up top because it actually looks better. So, and then we're just decreasing the camera stuff. So, somebody's calling me the R word again. Jeez, bummer. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think we have more confirmation. Brave Gnome Web is Epiphany. So,
yes, it is.
Let's see. All right, a couple more comments come in over on Zatubies. Let's see. First in web languages. All right. States you can carry conceal if you have balls. All 50. Yeah. I did actually do some questionable CCing in Cali, mostly because those crazy roaming dogs were running around. And I was actually on federal land, not state or private or anything like that, or city. So they care. Rangers care a little bit less.
CCJ comments Napster and Kazaa. I remember using both of those.
Yep.
And
kids these days don't know how good they have it. I miss the 90s. Amen to that. Yep.
Yeah. And I used the Kazaa well into the 2007 or 6 or 7 because after the Kazaa network shut the central indexer shut down, someone forked the program, and I think they made a hack of some kind and made it run. So they had the Kazaa, and they changed the name to Kazaa Lite or something, and made it work for a few more years. That was a glorious
If I remember correctly, I had a Sony Walkman that would play MP3s back then before they came out with the iPod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was at Arcos, I think, had one of the first commercially available MP3 players. They were literally a laptop hard drive strapped to probably something running Linux or
I got this similar thing. I got an iRiver MP3 player, and they don't, the hard drives in them are actually smaller than a laptop one, but by double. I mean, they're really tiny, and they take a ribbon cable that goes into a slot, and you flip the lock down, and that's the connector for it.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
The Microsoft Zune started using those, and so did iPod.
Yep.
I remember my biological father. He used to play. Play on the local channel at night. They had some contests and so on. And a few times he would win something. And one time he won a pair of sunglasses which had a built-in MP3 player and headphones connected to the thing. And it came with 15 tracks of classical music. And we never could figure out how you were supposed to add more music to that thing.
Yep. HD says Windows in 2024 is horrible. Yes. My friends at Fresh Vintage just texted me yesterday and said his Windows computer just upgraded. He has Copilot crap everywhere now.
Oh,
and then he was asking me which video editors I use for Linux.
With Windows 11, I think it's 24 something, H something.
Yep.
You have to have an Intel Gen 8 processor or newer for your Windows to work. There's a big patch coming up for that, where older processors will no longer work with Windows.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is totally awesome because we'll get more people running Linux, I think.
Yeah.
This economy, everyone can't go out and buy a new computer. What are you insane?
They're not just going with secure boot and TPM now. Now they're going for instruction sets.
Yeah, I think that's actually, it's one of our candidate news articles this week, so we need to look at it. So.
Yeah, the update is 24H2.
Right.
So this fall.
Yeah, that update's gonna wreak havoc in the Windows world. But still, I predict about 80+% of us are like, okay, whatever I have to do, and then.
Speaking
Lord
of
help us.
MP3 and players and so on, that reminds me of a Dutch someone who he works at a Dutch internet service provider, and they have a shelf in their office where the workers can put their own gear and play with as they like. And he got his hands on a 286 and he installed the Minix 2, I think, on the thing. It was downclocked from 20 megahertz to 18 megahertz in order to be stable. And he installed a web server, and he made the sound card to work. So he played a wave file which is not encoded in any way, and then he tried to download a file, and the playback of the wave file just crawled to a halt.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, I think we're going to wrap up the live part here. We'll do a hangout. I guess before we do, I did post the short story. Anybody that's on any of the supporter networks, I posted the short story. I did not get the audiobook done. I will get the audiobook done when my voice is back, since the audiobooks I'm posting will be part of the like the full production sales audiobook as soon as we release this to the public. So I'm not going to do that until I can actually do it clearly. But the text is up. You can read the text. I actually invested the time to put together a neat image for you too. So head on over to any of those. Of course, on Locals, you can read the first chapter before you have to pay if you join the free community. So, all right. So with that, weekly news roundup tomorrow, 9 o'clock tonight Eastern time, is going to be the Christian channel on Our Walk in Christ, which is going to be premiering on YouTube, and it'll go live on Rumble at the same time. Micah chapter 6 verses 9 through 16, I believe. And then tomorrow, weekly news roundup over here at 8, which is right about this time tomorrow. All right. With that, we will catch you guys tomorrow. Have yourselves a wonderful night until then.
Goodbye, everyone.